Welcome to the show. Welcome to Australia's Virus Central. Melbourne, Victoria, the embarrassment of the nation, home of the most incompetent government in the country. The government that's a health menace now to every Australian, a financial menace as well, thanks to its complete bungling of the coronavirus. Because of that, this Labor government today became the first and only one in Australia that's now had to lock up its people all over again. Right? Not everyone this time, thank heavens. But enough of them, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people living in 10 postcodes, 36 suburbs where the virus is worse, mainly to the north and the southeast of the city. These people are in lockdown again as of tomorrow night. Can't leave home except for work, exercise and essential reasons. Leave home and it's police state all over again. Police will ask, papers please.
They will be patrolling throughout these communities, and if people are out of their home, then they will be politely asked, why are you out of your home? And if you are out of your home for anything other than a permitted reason, then financial penalties apply, on-the-spot fines apply.
Absolutely incredible. What a cock-up. Like I said yesterday, this is the government that was so tough with bans that made zero difference. Zero difference. Tough. Bans on golf, bans on camping, on fishing, on surfing even. Places where the chances of actually getting sick were about zero. I mean, out in the sun in the open air, on the waves, banned. But on the one essential thing it had to do, it was weak. On the one big thing it had to do, keeping sick people in quarantine and making them stay there, amateur hour. In fact, literally, it hired amateur security guards for the hotels where we actually kept returning travellers, many of them with the virus. Guards who then broke the rules, got too close, shared cigarettes, who knows else, with the guests. And only today, too late, she cried, only today does the Premier say, oh, whoops, maybe we should now call in the professionals, you know, like the people who actually run jails.
Well, Corrections Victoria, as I foreshadowed on the weekend, are moving into that space. I think they've got the best credentials of anybody when it comes to controlling environments and dealing with people for whom their movement is limited, for whom their liberty has been taken away from them. I can't think of any better people to do that.
No, I can't think of anyone better either. What is it now? End of June. When they start locking up people in these hotels. I mean, really, this is the same government then that let sick people, including the guards who got sick, stay in home quarantine on an honour system. We trust you. Few checks, right? Very few checks. So, some went out down the street, some went to work, some even had parties, end of Ramadan feasts, the whole thing, whatever. Total stuff up. Total. And even now, this secretive government and its chief health officer won't say just how many of this new wave of infections, 75 new infections yesterday, 64 today, 2 weeks now of double-digit numbers. It won't say how many of these new infections came from these quarantine hotels that should have been locked up so tight. Now, we're told it's, pick a figure, it's somewhere between a very significant amount, says the chief health officer, to even greater, whatever that means. But sure, you know, we little people, we don't need to know the details of this stuff up, just how many we're talking about. We don't need to know it from him or from the Premier.
At least a significant number, and potentially more, of the outbreaks in the north of the city are attributable via genomic sequencing to staff members in hotel quarantine breaching well-known and well-understood infection control protocols. This is deeply frustrating, this is unacceptable, and we will have that judicial inquiry to get to the bottom of exactly what has occurred.
I'll say it's disappointing. All that sacrifice by 6 million Victorians during the first lockdown for nothing. Nothing. Okay, so there's now going to be a judicial inquiry. And boy, I hope it digs deep, including into the ideological leanings of this government that might help to explain certain bizarre things, like the fact that a third of people in hotel detention in Victoria refused to be tested after 2 weeks were up and were still allowed to go home. Now that figure puzzled me when the Premier mentioned it the other day. Puzzled me, amazed me even. A third of these people in quarantine in Victoria said no to the virus test and were still allowed to go home? When in New South Wales, the figure was not a third, it was 2%. 2% refusal. How come that incredible difference? Well, actually, I rang a guy today, acquaintance of a friend, who'd actually been in quarantine in one of these hotels in Melbourne. And he said he couldn't believe it. He said at the end of his stay, he went to see the nurses, expecting a final virus test to clear him before he went home. And you know what they said to him, unprompted? Oh, you don't need a test. You don't have to. You don't have to take, if you want to take the test, fine, but you don't have to take the test. Oh, okay then. I mean, this guy was responsible, he still had the test. But how many others thought, oh, in that case, who wants something stuck up your nozzin? Out we go. And now this second wave. Unbelievable. It's so bad now, what a farce, that Melbourne is diverting all international flights to other states. So bad that it's asked for another 1,000, nearly, Commonwealth public servants to come help bail it out. And it's so bad that South Australia is keeping its borders shut to Victorians, the lepers of the nation, Queensland too. And the Prime Minister is now begging for calm, saying, please, there's no need to shut down everything all over again, please.
Admittedly, it's very serious, it has our total focus, and it is of great concern. But if you're living in Wangaratta, then you're no more affected by what's going on in those suburbs of Melbourne than if you're living in Whyalla. And so we've got to get some perspective.
And is right. So at least we've got the government in Victoria knowing, oh, well, we'll just for now shut down 36 suburbs. Said in the southeast as well, they're all in the north of Melbourne. But I have to say, when you talked about perspective, there is one important perspective being lost all over again, and it's this blunt fact. In the past month, just one person in the entire country, one person has died from the virus. Sad, but only one, and it was a man in his 80s. And all this panic over that, have we gone insane? And no one is panicking more than the Victorian Premier, hinting that he'd really would have liked to have tested every single person possible and warning that there is in fact a legal power, not that he wants to use it, to force tests on people who are being a health menace. Andrew says 920 people in just 2 suburbs refused to take tests when they were offered them in the last week or two. So how long will that freedom to refuse last? And how much is this bungling now going to cost? I feel so sorry for the people in the lockup, this new lockup. They'll be locked in their homes for another month. Well, the rest of us, but I bet a fair bit of money that a lot of those people aren't going to put up with round 2 of this. And the government, I reckon, has had its chance and it blew it. Now the rest of us will pay.